Hiya, welcome back to In the Kitchen with Tabby. So guys, today you're getting two recipes in one. You're getting a recipe for a 2-ingredient cake. Super easy, and I used a really fun ingredient that is something new that you guys are going to be able to buy in stores. I think you can buy it now, maybe, I'm not sure, but you'll see in the video what I used. And then a chocolate cake mix, and that's it. And then also you're gonna get a recipe for this amazing chocolate frosting, and it is delicious. It's great on cake, brownies, cookies. You can put it on just about anything, cupcakes, but it's fun to put together, and I think you guys are really gonna like it. Your family will too. Let's have some fun. Let's get cooking. All right guys, so I picked up a Walmart order the other day, and when I went to get it, the young man that brought it out handed me a little bag and said, "This is for you." And so I said, "Oh, thank you." Well, when I got home, I opened it up and it had a bunch of samples and stuff in it, things that I really don't use, but this was in there. A can of spiced Coke, and it says it is a raspberry spiced Coke and other natural flavors. Now, I'm not a pop drinker typically. If I go to a restaurant, sometimes I'll get a Sprite or something, but we don't usually drink sodas here at home, so I'm just not much of a Coke drinker. But there is a recipe you can do where you can take a chocolate cake mix and pour a can of soda in it, and it makes a cake. So we're gonna do it. Let's give it a try, and we'll see if this raspberry spiced Coke has any kind of a effect on the flavor. So this is just a dark chocolate fudge cake mix, perfectly moist. So we're just gonna take that whole cake mix and just dump it right in the bowl. Dump it right on in there. And splash some powder while you're at it. Because it's just not any fun unless you're making a little bit of a mess. All right, to that now, oh, I better put my attachment on there. Oh, there's my oven, preheated. All right, let's get this on here. It's not gonna mix up very much if I don't have my attachment on there. All right, so we're gonna put that down in there. And I also have some chocolate chips I'm gonna throw in, but I'm gonna do that at the end. So the directions say just to take one. Do you guys tap the top of your can? I don't know if that's just something that's a wives' tale or a myth, but when I was young, my husband Dale, his uncle, told me that if you tap the top of the can, you're less likely to have it explode. I don't know if that's true or not. It's just a habit now though. I always tap the top of my cans. My husband makes fun of me. He thinks I'm silly for doing it. All right, there we go. I'm gonna smell it. Ooh, I can smell the raspberry in there, you guys. Oh my gosh. Wow, that really smells good. All right, so we're just gonna pour this whole can, 12 ounces. The whole can gets poured in here right on top of this cake batter. Well, or cake mix. So we're just gonna pour that right in. That really smells good. All right, now we're just gonna turn it on and mix it up. You just wanna mix it up really well so that there are no lumps, is what the recipe said on the internet. I've never done this kind of cake before. I've done the, pie filling with the angel food cake. That's really good. If you didn't see that recipe, you should go back and check my recipes from back in February, I think it was. A 2-ingredient cake. You take an angel food cake and some pie filling. I use cherry pie filling, but you can use any pie filling. Those 2 ingredients, mix that up and bake it. Oh my word, it's delicious. All right, so this is mixing up. Get my handy dandy spatula. We're just gonna push this down a little bit. Let's turn that off for a second. Push those sides down a little bit and get all that powder off of the sides. All right. I'm gonna turn that up just a little bit. And I'm gonna throw in a couple handfuls of chocolate chips. And these are just dark chocolate, or not dark chocolate, semi-sweet chocolate chips. It smells really good. All right, now, just so you know, it also recommended, got a little bit of cake batter in there, it also recommended that you line your baking pan with parchment paper. So I'm not putting any cake goop in here, I've just lined it with parchment paper. And we're gonna use that. All right, I think that looks good. Let's see what we got here. That looks nice and creamy. So let's scrape that beater off. When my boys were little, you know, anybody who has kids, you've always got to leave a little bit on the beaters for the kiddos. All right, let me put this in the sink. Hang on. All right, let's see what we got. It sure smells good. I gotta find that little thing to go underneath my cake. I mean, underneath my KitchenAid. All right, so there's my pan. I'm gonna turn you a little bit so you can see a little bit better. There we go. So let's get this poured in this pan. I have my oven preheated to 350. And we're just gonna pour this right in our pan. You can really smell the raspberry, you guys. I didn't think you'd be able to smell it that much. I'm so curious now to see if we're gonna be able to taste it. Now you could also make this into muffins if you wanted, or cupcakes. So if you wanted to use a muffin tin, you could do that and make it into cupcakes just as easily. I didn't have any cupcake cups. I was actually considering doing cupcakes, but I didn't have any cupcake cups to put them in. And you know I'm gonna lick this spatula in just a second to tell you if it tastes any different. So we're just gonna encourage that over into the corners. It also said that it's a crumbly cake, so when you're cutting it, you gotta use a really sharp knife because it's gonna be very moist and crumbly, is what the recipe said. Let's get this off of here. That looks good. Let's give it a little taste and see. I can taste that. I don't know how to describe it, other than to say it does taste like a spiced raspberry. All right, 350-degree oven, 35 minutes. I'm putting it on the middle rack. 35 minutes, let's set our timer. All right, when that goes off, I'll come back and we'll check it out. Hang tight, I'll be right back. All right, timer went off. Let's get this out and take a look. I can smell it. It's smelling the whole house up. Ooh-wee. Look at that. That looks pretty good, guys. I'm telling you, my whole house smells like raspberry right now. That's the craziest thing. All right, I'm gonna let this cool. It's definitely pulled away from the sides, even with the parchment paper, but I'm gonna let it cool, and once it cools, I'll come back. I'm trying to decide what I'm gonna put on top. I don't know if I'm just gonna make some whipped cream or if I'm gonna make a frosting, but I will decide that, and when I come back, I'll let you know what we're gonna do. I'll be right back. All right, friends, I have opted for the frosting. So my cake is almost completely cool. I have it sitting off to the side here, so I'll pull it back over here when we're done. But what we're going to do right now is some frosting. So I have 1 stick of butter, or half a cup, and I have melted it. I just put it in my oven and melted it. So I'm gonna put that, let's see, I'm gonna take this off so I can get this in here. So we're just gonna pour that in to our bowl. We just want to make sure we get it all out of there. So I'm using my little rubber spatula spoon to make sure we get all of that butter out of there. Don't want to leave any of that in there. All right, so there's our butter. I'm going to put this back on. So the first thing we're going to do is add 2/3 of a cup of cocoa, and I'm using the Nestle Toll House 100% pure cocoa. Let me hold this up for you. Here we go. That's what I'm using, 2/3 of a cup. So we're going to drop that in. Sorry, I have a habit of that tapping. I think we all have a habit of tapping. You just want to make sure you get every last bit out. All right, so I'm going to turn this on slowly at first. We don't want a powder shower. So I'm going to bring you over just a little bit closer here so you can see. I have my whisk attachment on there. So we're just going to whisk that up until the chocolate is fully melted and incorporated into the butter. Looks nice and smooth. That's what you want. It's beautiful. Okay. I'm going to use my little spoon here and just a little bit of powder on the side. I'm going to scrape that down. Okay. Turn that on for just a couple more seconds. All right, that's got it. Now we are going to add our powdered sugar, and I have 3 cups of powdered sugar here. So we're going to put that in. To that, we're adding 1/3 of a cup of milk, and I actually used half of it is whipping cream and the other half is just regular 2% milk. All right, so let's get that turned on slowly. There we go. So we're going to get that fully incorporated there. A little bit of a powder shower, but not too bad. So I'm going to turn that up. I'm going to turn that up pretty high. I've got it on about 6, so that it whips in there really good. Then we have one more ingredient. It called for a teaspoon of vanilla, and I did not have quite a teaspoon. I was pretty disappointed. I can't believe I let myself run out, but I added just a dash of almond extract, and I think that'll be good because of the raspberry flavor. That kind of gives just a little bit of a cherry flavor, so I think that's going to be good. But this is going in at the end. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add my extract in there. Now I'm just going to turn it on low and just let it kind of stir that in. Okay. Get this out of here. Okay, I'm going to turn that on one more time. There's our cake, and it is fully cool all the way on the bottom. It didn't get very fluffy. It's not a very fluffy cake. It's only maybe 1 inch thick, so it's kind of a thin cake, but it smells really good. All right, I think that's got it. Let's take this off. All right, let's get this puppy frosted. Yeah, that's nice and cool, so you can see how beautiful that frosting is. That is just gorgeous. The texture is just beautiful. So I'm just gonna dollop some on the top here, and then we'll spread it out. And we may have a little extra icing since we're not going down the sides of the cake. We're just going on the top. But we may not, I don't know, we'll see. Let's see what we've got. I don't think we're going to have any extra. I think it's made just the right amount. It's on the thick side, this frosting. But I think it's going to be delicious on this cake. All right. There you have it. It's beautiful, isn't it? Now, I'm going to show you. This is something my mom always did when I was little with our cakes. She would just frost it just like that, and then she would take the tip of her butter knife and she would just make little zigzags on it. And I'll bring you over here and show it to you when I get it done. You can let me know in the comments if your mom did this too. It was just kind of a way of dressing it up a little bit. I'm not as good at it as she was though. She was better at it than me. Yeah, this doesn't look as pretty as when my mama did it. But that's all right. It's the memory. I think maybe just cleaning it off each time helps. All right, let me put this over here. I'm gonna hold it up, see if you can see the little zigzags in it. Isn't that sweet? It just adds a little something to it. All right, let's take a little bite. You want to? Let me get a little plate. We'll just get a little corner piece. Should come out pretty well because of having the parchment paper under it. All right, I've got my cake. Got myself a little shot of milk in my cute little vintage turquoise glass. I love these little glasses. So there you go. That's what it looks like. It is a very thin cake. Like I said, it did not fluff up very much at all, but it is very moist. So let's see what we got here. Oh my word. Guys, that's really good. I can taste the raspberry. And the almond extract didn't really add much flavor to the frosting at all. It just tastes like chocolate frosting, but you can really taste that raspberry in that cake. That's got a chocolate chip. That is really good, you guys. I gotta get a sip of milk. My goodness, that's delicious. If you're a chocolate lover, or if you're a raspberry chocolate lover, or a raspberry lover, you're gonna like this cake. It is really, really good. All right, full disclosure, I ate the whole little piece. It is really, really good, you guys. 2 recipes in one today. Super easy Coca-Cola spiced raspberry cake. I guess that's what we'll call it. And a really good chocolate frosting. So make sure you share this with your friends and family. You want to inspire them to get in the kitchen and make something fun. And when you spread it around like good butter, that's exactly what happens. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, make sure you like and comment, because that lets them know that you like my content and they will share it with you first whenever I post a new video. Also make sure on YouTube that you click that subscribe button and the notification bell all. Also, make sure that you go to my website, inthekitchenwithtabbi.com. You'll find this recipe there under the desserts category, but you can also sign up for my free weekly newsletter. I send it out every Wednesday. I think you would enjoy it. It's really a fun little newsletter that I put together. All right, guys, remember, when you make this, post a picture and tag me in it so that I can see that you made it and I can share it with everybody. I always love to hear what's cooking in your kitchen. And thank you so much for coming into my kitchen today. I really love having you here, and I appreciate you spending some time with me. Remember, Christ is the unseen guest at every dinner table, and just like I always say, the silent listener to every conversation. So just make sure those words coming out of your mouth are pure and sweet like honey, and that you're lifting each other up, loving on each other, and shining your light bright, because that's what we're called to do. Guys, I love you so much. God loves you even more than I do. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.